So we're going to do something a little bit different. I think we've done it once before. I'm going to give you all a little story, a little prelude to Pastor's sermon. So for those of you that like to follow along, we're going to be in 2 Kings chapter 2. So in 2 Kings chapter 2, we see Elijah and Elisha. And yes, it is confusing. So Elijah is a prophet. He is the prophet of the time. And Elisha is his apprentice, so to speak. And so it has come to the end of Elijah's life, and God has told him that he is going to have the privilege of being taken up to heaven in a heavenly chariot. And so he right now is at the end of his life, and he's just basically finishing up his job. And so we see them at Gilgal. And Elijah turns to Elisha and he tells him, all right, thank you for being with me this time, for helping me, for being my apprentice, but stay here. Stay here and let me go and do the job that the Lord has given me. And Elisha tells him, nope.
We'll do it.
As long as the Lord lives, and as long as you live, I'm going to stick with you. And so he says, Elijah says, okay. And they go on. And so they move on to another town, and Elijah goes to Elisha again, and he tells him, okay, thank you for being my apprentice, for sticking with me, but stay here. Let me go finish my job. And Elijah says, nope. As long as the Lord lives, and as long as you live, I'm going to stick with you. And so they move on. And they get to Jericho, a city some of you biblical scholars might know of. And Elijah tells him again, he says, stay here, please. Let me go complete the job that the Lord has given me. And Elijah, once again, says, nope. As long as the Lord lives, as long as you live, I'm going to stay by your side. And so they go on, and it says that Elijah goes to the Jordan, and he gets to the Jordan River, and he takes off his robe, kind of like a mantle, so to speak, and it says he rolls it up, and he takes it, and he hits the water, the river. And the river parts. And it says that it parts to the point where the two of them walk across on dry land. I almost said dry water. They walk across on dry land. And they cross the Jordan, and they go a little bit further. And Elijah turns to Elisha and he says, thank you for staying with me. Thank you for being my apprentice, for encouraging me, for staying by my side. He says, if there is anything before I leave, if there's anything I can do for you, just ask. And Elijah asks him, he says, all I want is the same spirit that you have. The magnificent, overwhelming presence of God that you have with you. That's what I want. And Elijah replies, you've asked a very difficult thing. He replies to him, he says, that's tough. But, okay. If you stick with me and you see me go, be taken up into heaven, then it shall be done for you. And so, shortly after that, it says that a chariot of fire. Does that hit anybody? A chariot of fire with angels riding it, comes down out of the clouds, roaring with thunder and power to pick up Elijah. How awesome is that?
The ultimate Uber.
Just the ultimate Uber.
Yeah.
I like that, Pastor. Just I'm trying to imagine this. We can't. It's unimaginable. A chariot of fire riding down out of the clouds, driven by angels, to pick up this mighty prophet of God to be taken home to heaven. And so it says that they pick up Elijah, and he goes, he's taken up into heaven. And Elijah, standing there in awe, after the initial shock starts to wear off, it says that he picks up the garment, the mantle of Elijah, and he takes it with him. And so, we have this awesome picture of just the power of God and the love God had for Elijah. And I'm going to leave you guys there. Pastor will elaborate more on it. To be continued. Thank you.